Drug-related deaths of basketball's Len Bias and pro football's Don Rogers. There were other notable figures from the world of sports who passed away in 1986 as well. And so as the year draws to a close, Gary Paul Gates pays tribute to some of the men and women who over the years have enriched our lives in one arena or another.
This is the site of the old Polo Grounds, the former home of the New York Giants, both baseball and football. It was here on a crisp autumn afternoon back in 1924 that a gifted Notre Dame backfield inspired the most famous sports lead ever written. When the Irish beat Army that day, Granlund Rice honored the event with a touch of a poet. And 62 years later, his words still live. Outlined against a blue-gray October sky, the Four Horsemen rode again.
In dramatic lore, they are known as death, pestilence, famine, and war. But in real life, their names are Stuhldrayer, Miller, Crowley, and Blake. The only trouble with being one of the Four Horsemen, no matter what else you did, you were one of the Four Horsemen.
Jim Crowley, the last of the Four Horsemen, died in 1986. And at Notre Dame once again, they woke up the echoes. In Texas and Detroit, they mourned the death of Bobby Lane, the first quarterback to master the art of the 2-minute drill. His Lion teammates like to say that Lane never lost a game, but there were some days when time simply ran out, and Bobby agreed.
I'm one person who hates to lose. I don't care if we're playing marbles or gin rummy or what we're doing. I like to be a winner.
Bobby Lane was a winner to the very end, but this fall his time ran out. Another respected veteran of the NFL wars who died this year was referee Tommy Bell, the Kentucky lawyer who pleaded for justice in courtrooms during the week and on Sunday afternoons imposed justice for small crimes and misdemeanors on the football field. The tragedy of AIDS struck the former Washington tight end Jerry Smith, the first prominent sports figure to succumb to that dread disease. Baseball lost Hall of Fame pitcher Charles "Red" Ruffing, the ace of the New York Yankees staff back in the 1930s and 40s, when the Yankees won pennants with appalling regularity. On those rare occasions when the Yankees of that era did not dominate the American League, the team that usually won the pennant was the Detroit Tigers, who were led by another Hall of Famer, Hank Greenberg. He also died this year. Greenberg was a mighty slugger who one year hit 58 home runs. Only two major leaguers ever hit more in a single season. One was Roger Maris, and the other a fellow named Ruth. A Tiger star of a later generation, Norm Cash, died in a drowning accident this fall. He thrilled Detroit fans in 1961 when he won the American League batting title. Let's also say goodbye to the senior member of baseball's royal family. Vince DiMaggio was good enough to play in the major leagues, but he was overshadowed by his two younger brothers, Dominic and Joe, the Yankee Clipper. Baseball also lost its greatest fan this year. Bill Veeck loved baseball so much that he kept buying teams over the years so he could justify the passion that took him out to the ball game. Veeck often said that the most wonderful thing in the world was a baseball park filled with people.
And the next most wonderful thing is a ballpark half filled with people.
When Tommy Farr died this year, old-time boxing fans remembered that the sturdy Welshman was one of the few men who went the distance with Joe Louis when the great heavyweight champion was in his prime. The world of hockey bid farewell to one of its most enduring legends. King Clancy was truly a man for all seasons. His career spanned more than half a century, first as a player, then as a coach, and in recent years as vice president of the Toronto Maple Leafs. The death of tennis player Chuck McKinley brought back memories of a more innocent era in his sport. McKinley's greatest individual triumph was at Wimbledon in 1963, but his biggest thrill was playing on a U.S. team that won the Davis Cup. Team spirit and national honor. Indeed, it was a more innocent time. In many ways, the most shocking loss of all in 1986 was the death of Flo Hyman, the queen of the volleyball court, whose spike shot was a stunning blend of grace and power. The star of the U.S. Olympic team, Flo died suddenly of a rare congenital disorder while playing volleyball in Japan. She was only 31. We did not attempt in this memorial to be comprehensive. And as we say goodbye to a few others who left us this year, let's reflect not so much on their deaths, but on the prime of their lives, when the skills they brought to the games we enjoy gave us all moments to remember for the rest of our lives.
so exceptionally smooth. The night belongs to Michelob.
Listen to the heartbeat of America. Listen to the heartbeat of America.
Feel it in a 350 V8 Chevy with the most available power of any half-ton pickup. Nothing works like a Chevy truck.
The heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevy truck.
The play's the thing, and for our John Madden, all of sports is the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, the most entertaining moments of 1986.
About this time of year, people ask me for my plays of the year. I tell them this is the year of the instant replay. Well, now I'm back at Soldier Field, where one of the weirdest plays of the season took place. And that, along with the other bizarre moments in sports, I'm going to show you. But only once. No replays.
Steve Young is 3 of 7 converting in this situation today, and it's intercepted by Todd Bell. And Bell laterals the ball, and oh, look at this! Oh, my goodness! It is Heflin.
Jim McMahon looked chic. No relation to Ali Haji. Then it was the Cardinals who got lateralitis. They were determined not to let the game end. So, hey, how about a little round the horn action? Wish I had my chalkboard with me for this one. Steve Young had a much more efficient way to get everyone in on the action. 1 pass, 5 receivers, no waiting. Now watch this guy make believe he's tying his shoelaces. Wait, here they go. And this was my NFL play of the year.
Hanging up in the end zone. They're all up in the air. And it's a touchdown. The Patriots have a touchdown. It's caught in the end zone.
With all the ruckus about replays, maybe the officials were trying to get a better view. Well, no doubt about that call. Definitely out of bounds. And talk about a late hit.
Personal foul. He's giving them business down there.
But could the referees come back? They'll need a big turnover. And this Marino interception did it. Everyone was so testy this year. One ref said, okay, wise guy, you make the call. I say that's taking the phrase in your face too literally. Not only were the flags flying, but it was the kind of year when guys were throwing everything around. But Bruce Hurst had this little problem. He knew he was close to the ball, but he just couldn't find it. Alan Nicely took the opposite approach. He didn't know where he was, so he let the ball find him. And watch this royal disaster in the outfield. Fellas, I keep telling you, the high fives come after you catch the ball. Speaking of crashes, Bobby Allison survived this moment of sheer terror. And up at the Calgary Stampede, a chuck wagon race turned into a pileup. Oh yes, man has always dreamed he could fly. But this was a 1986 version of the agony of defeat. And ever wonder how many bikes you can get on the back of a car?
Mike, it's all yours.
And here's how Mike Schuler took the seat of power in Portland. This was the NBA shot of the year. Herb Williams of Indiana, 81 feet, and it counts at the buzzer. In hockey, Steve Smith of Edmonton celebrated his birthday by eliminating his own team.
Oh, they score! Oh, Steve Smith, in attempting to get it out of his own zone, put it in the net.
Reversal.
Hulk Hogan had the slam of the year.
A scoop slam.
Nothing like a man who takes pride in his work. In golf, too, you got to go for the pin.
Pretty good contact with the ball. And
Watch it. It's the old down and in play.
Green. Now watch it turn.
And this was a goal heard round the world. You know, we're not the only country with some weird sports. They do plenty of strange things overseas. How about this truck pull? Looks like a great way to limber up the old quadriceps. This guy could play in my team. And if the bus breaks down, we'd never be stuck. And just a stone's throw away, another guy who's got enough muscle to let him get away with wearing a skirt in front of all those people. Meanwhile, in Japan, one thing just led to another. And finally, back home in Aiken, South Carolina, this year's most cloying event, the 100-meter crawl. And it looks like the #1 lobster, Virginia Gentleman. But wait, let's check the replay.
After a review by the replay official, the play stands as it was called.
And as for all those red-faced losers, well, we'll just let them stew for a while.
In 1965, Willie Shoemaker rode Lucky Debonair to the winner's circle at the Kentucky Derby. In 1986, the Shoe, at age 54, did it again, this time aboard Ferdinand, a 17-to-1 long shot. Another old-timer, John Henry, retired. Career earnings for the horse nobody wanted as a yearling, over $6.5 million.
Oh, it's beautiful. Did Daddy see it? Mr. Macho cried.
Hey, I always cry when I'm hungry.